हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू शिवली सिंपल स्टेप्स। दोस्तों, लास्ट वीडियो में हमने गोलकोंडा फोर्ट देखा था और इस वीडियो में हम लोग लाइट एंड म्यूजिक शो देखेंगे। शो 6:30 को शुरू होगा, जिसके लिए मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड हूँ। लास्ट वीडियो में हमने गोलकोंडा फोर्ट के बारे में जाना था और इस वीडियो में हम गोलकोंडा फोर्ट की हिस्ट्री जानेंगे। आप जब गोलकोंडा फोर्ट घूमने आएंगे तो लाइट एंड साउंड शो देखना ना भूलें। ये शो 3 लैंग्वेजेस में होता है, हिंदी, तेलुगु एंड इंग्लिश। लास्ट वीडियो का लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है। अब शो शुरू होने वाला है। वाओ, इट्स अमेजिंग।
Come, friends. Come this way, please. I shall tell you the story of this fort. About 800 years ago, in the 12th century, this area was ruled by the Yadavs of Devgiri and the Kaktiyas of Warangal. The Kaktiyas ruled Telangana for 2 centuries, and under them the Telugu-speaking people of Andhra Pradesh established their distinct cultural identity.
Andhra Santigariyam Sara Kanchana Shalaya Yatha Hatakatasya Ratna Shalina Kedarayatra Shalina Tarangita Janantara Krishna Gacchaya Harita Yatha Janani Tadha Shali Samrakshini Hasta Adaikam Gadanadi.
Count Venerable, we have defeated and duly punished the errant feudatory Ambadev. Other rebels who stood by him have also been vanquished.
At last we may hope for peace in our land, Maharaj.
Not yet, Venerable. We have information that the Turk invader Alauddin Khilji has captured Devgiri.
Now he might think of invading Telangaana as well.
So long as life courses through the veins of Pratap Rudra and valiant warriors like you stand by us, we can face any calamity. But we must be on guard. We will build a new fort here at Mangalwaram, which will protect us against any invasion from Devgiri.
And so huge ramparts of mud were raised on the hill, and a strong fort was built here. But the invasions from the north did not stop. The Khiljis were followed by the Tughlaqs, and then neither the Yadavs survived, nor the Kaktiyas. However, the Tughlaqs could not hold the Deccan for long.
Why?
Because local chieftains like Kapai Nayak organized the people of Telangana to free the land from the Tughlaqs. Besides, the nobles appointed by the Tughlaqs in Deccan also rebelled to break the shackles of the Sultanate of Delhi. In 1347, one of these nobles, Alauddin Hassan Bahman Shah, founded the Bahmani Sultanate in the Deccan. But very soon, fresh clashes broke out between the Bahmani Sultans and the king of Warangal.
What caused this fighting?
Oh, the usual problem. It was the land between the Tungabhadra and Krishna rivers which became the bone of contention.
Who won the fight?
The battle was won by the second Bahmani Sultan, Muhammad Shah. In 1363, he defeated Kapai Nayak and forced him to come to terms.
Kapaya Nayak This is the second time that we have been forced into military action against you.
As long as the spirit will remain free lives within our hearts, Sultan. This is inevitable.
We are amazed. If you so dearly cherish your freedom, why did you seek help from Firozshah Tughlaq? Have you forgotten that you and we both snatched away our freedom from these Tughlaqs? However, we respect your desire for freedom and we are willing to restore your kingdom to you.
But I shall not accede to becoming your vassal.
You shall remain independent, but to prevent the possibility of further conflicts, Golkonda will remain in our possession. It shall be our easternmost boundary.
And so, Golconda became part of the Bahmani kingdom, which flourished during the next 100 years. During the reign of the 14th Bahmani king, Mahmud Shah, a young man arrived at his court from the famous city of Hamadan in Persia. This young man was destined to change the face, fate, and fortune of Golconda.
Sultan Kuli, not only your bravery, but your knowledge is also praiseworthy.
My lord, it is your magnanimity which sees worth in this humble servant.
We hope that your stay at Bidor is comforting.
Ali Jah, it is indeed gracious of you to have given refuge to me and my uncle in our exile.
Then why do you not settle here for good?
Ali Jah, for me, your desire is a command I cannot disobey.
Subhanallah, we hereby bestow on you the title of Khawas Khan and make you a noble at our court.
The ascent of Sultan Kuli was meteoric. In just 7 years, he became Qutbul Mulk, the governor of Telangana and the Jagirdar of Golkonda. And after the death of Mahmud Shah in 1518, Sultan Kuli became independent.
Sultan Kuli Qutub Shah तशरीफ ला रहे हैं.
Today, Malik, there is peace and quiet in Vijayanagar and Vijayanagar. The administration of Golkonda too is stronger than ever before.
And we shall have to keep it so. Therefore, we have decided to make Golconda our capital.
But it is not in the center of the kingdom, my lord.
Nevertheless, there is no other place more suited for the defense of our kingdom. A mud fort already exists here. We shall strengthen this fort with stone and mortar and reside here as well.
So, this was the first time that a ruler decided to make Golconda his capital and live there.
Absolutely. Sultan Kuli had brought with him from Hamadan images of the towering minarets, grand arches, and magnificent gateways of Iran. All this is still visible here. Do you know that the circumference of the outer wall is 7 kilometers? There are 8 gates and 87 bastions in the crenellated wall, and 2 more stone walls within the outer rampart protect Bala Hissa.
What is all this clapping about?
Who are these people?
Oh, merely tourists. Like you. When you entered the Bala Hisar, you must have come to a grand portico. Some people are standing there, while some others are at the Baradari. The portico has been so constructed that if you stand in the center beneath the roof and clap loudly, it can be clearly heard at the Baradari.
This is indeed a remarkable feat of engineering skill.
You must realize that there were no telephones in that age. And so, whenever somebody came to the Bala Hisar, his arrival was announced to the guards at the Baradari by clapping.
Where is the Baradari?
Right at the top of the hill, almost 450 feet away. Look, there it is, there, at the top. From there, one can see the entire area surrounding the fort. The Diwan-e-Khas of the Sultan is just below the Baradari. To reach it, you have to ascend 360 steps. On the way to the Diwan-e-Khas, one comes across various buildings of historical importance, such as the armory, the offices of the Divan, the mosque of Ibrahim Qutub Shah, the Dad Mahal where the Sultan heard petitions, and the Mahakali temple, built probably by the Kakatiya rulers.
The Qutub Shahi sultans must have been very tolerant.
Very true. There was no religious intolerance during the Qutub Shahi rule.
Where did the Sultan live?
Right here, 280 steps descend from the Diwan-e-Khas to the Sultan's residence. Here, where the fabulous Rani Mahals and the Sultan's quarters were situated. Ah, this palace, with its luxuriously decorated rooms, open courtyards, verdant gardens and sparkling fountains, must have been a veritable paradise on earth. Sultan Quli was an able administrator, a remarkably talented personality. Yet, the last years of his life were marred by bitter domestic quarrels.
For 60 years now, I have been incessantly waging wars. I have laid the foundations of a new kingdom. Alas, there is none among my sons to whom I may entrust the kingdom and spend my remaining days in your worship. Ever the eldest passed away before my own eyes. Qutbuddin has no interest in the affairs of state. Jamshed and Daulat have proved to be insufferable upstarts. Had I not imprisoned them, they would have put me in chains. Ibrahim, the youngest, is just 13. What am I to do, Yahuda? Only you can show me the way.
Meanwhile, Yar Quli Jamshed Khan, the third son of Sultan Quli, was busy with his intrigues during his captivity at Golkonda.
Believe me, Hamdani, death would be more welcome than this imprisonment. My father will not accept that the kingdom would be safe in my hands.
It's really sad, my lord, to see an able prince like you suffering.
If my father is not sorry to put me in prison, why should anyone else feel sad?
If it were this humble servant's power to alleviate your suffering, I would do so immediately.
You can, Hamdani. You can.
How, my lord?
There is only one way out. The Sultan will have to be removed.
What a merciless son he was.
Planned to kill his own father for the throne?
Was his conspiracy, successful?
Alas, it was.
What happened to the younger brother?
The youngest brother, Ibrahim, had to flee Golkonda and take refuge in neighboring Vijayanagar. The next 7 years were a period of intense turmoil in Golkonda. But after the sudden demise of Jamshed in 1550, Ibrahim returned to Golkonda amidst great relief and jubilation.
I am so pleased to see you on the throne of Golkonda, my lord.
Have you forgotten the splendor of Vijayanagar so soon, Bhagirathi? Our Golkonda is just a village compared to it.
In Vijayanagar, I was an ordinary princess and the wife of an exiled prince. But here in Golkonda, I am the queen of the most successful sultan of the Deccan.
Without your constant support, Bhagirathi, we could not have regained our kingdom.
Now you must really get down to improving the affairs of the state.
We are aware of it. Mismanagement in the past 7 years has caused havoc.
It could prove fruitful to deal with the common people in their own language, my lord. If you patronize Telugu, you'll easily win over our people.
When we have won your heart through Telugu, Bhagirathi, we shall surely win the hearts of our subjects as well.
Within a short period, Golkonda made marked progress. Extensive repairs of the fort were undertaken. The famous Hussain Sagar tank was constructed. Improved irrigation resulted in bountiful crops, and Golconda entered an era of peace and plenty. This prosperity was also reflected in the flowering of art and literature.
అక్కమలాచి హస్తములయందమున్నేమని విన్నవింతు నేనొక్కక వేళనక్కి తలయోర్చి సమీపమునందునున్నచో జొక్కపు దమ్మి పువ్వులనుచున్ గరుడత్తమరాళిగాను కెంపెక్కిన పల్లవంబులను నిత్తను దాయును గండు కోయలు
Wow, Adbhutam. What is the title of this poetical work, Gangadhar Kavi?
Tapati Samavarna Upakyanam.
You have indeed spun out this love story with telling effect.
Rudrakavi is here to pay his respects.
Subhanallah.
Huzur, Rudrakavi has written a new work which is both poetry and drama.
Well, we shall ask him to recite it today. Welcome, Rudrakavi. It seems this shall turn out to be a fine gathering.
It is indeed commendable that you find time for poetry, Sultan.
Rudrakavi, poetry is the voice of the people. Is it not our duty to listen to it?
No wonder that the people of Telangana love you so much.
Do you know what the people call you? Malikabhara, or just Abhiram?
It is a gesture of their love, Rudrakavi. Anyway, we have heard that you have written something new.
Sultan, I have tried out an experiment in the folk style of Yakshagan.
Let us hear a portion of this new work, Rudrakavi.
కనుల నశ్రులు క్రమ్మగబగచున్ ఔరా విధి వశమని తలయూచున్ ఎటికి ప్రాణములికనని తలచున్ క్రమరసములు రొమ్మున నొత్తున్.
In 1565, Ibrahim's wife Bhagirathi gave birth to a son. Amidst widespread celebrations, the Sultan distributed largesse and named his son Muhammad Quli. From the very beginning, Prince Muhammad Quli was inclined more towards winning hearts than conquering forts. Nature had bestowed on him the gift of poetry and music. The love tale of Muhammad Quli and Bhagmati is related by people even to this day. It is said that Bhagmati lived in Chichlam village on the other side of the Musi river near the fort. She was extremely beautiful and accomplished in music and dance. Muhammad Quli first saw her when she was on her way to the temple. It was love at first sight and soon grew into a passion. But the Sultan came to know of it.
सुनो लोग मेरे परम की कहानी पीला है आशिकी की निशानी.
Muhammad,
Alija,
is it true that you are enamored by a dancing girl? Answer, we await your reply.
I am in love with her, Alija.
With a common dancing girl? We did not expect this from you.
Alija, I can't live without her.
You have lost your senses. It is our order that you shall have nothing to do with her henceforth. You are not to leave the fort till this madness is over.
Not even the severest royal edict could check this passion. One stormy night, the prince risked his life to go and meet his beloved.
Bhagwati! Bhagwati!
You, my lord? In this stormy weather?
Yes, Bhagwati. I couldn't stay away.
How did you find your way in the dark?
There was the flame of your love in my heart. Your face was beckoning me like a beacon at night.
You should have never taken such a risk.
Do you think I could live without meeting you? Each breath of mine, each heartbeat is for you alone. My love.
It is said that when the Sultan came to know that the prince had risked his life to meet Bhagwati, all restrictions were withdrawn.
Wah, Bhagwati, wah. Sing and let me listen to your sweet melodious voice forever.
You say this because it is your ghazal that I'm singing?
The poem is mine, no doubt, but it is you who are present in each and every word of the song.
I'm indeed fortunate that you love me so.
Muhammad Quli is the first Urdu poet whose verse was issued as a collection.
He must have been a contemporary of poets such as Surdas, Mirabai, and Tulsidas.
Indeed. And like these great poets, Muhammad Quli also disregarded the barriers of caste and creed to depict the lives and customs of his people. Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah ascended the throne in 1580 at the young age of 15. The foundations of the Sultanate were secure, and there was peace and prosperity in the land. Golkonda now entered its golden period, which was to last for the next 50 years. Well, now, tell me, have you ever seen diamonds?
Diamonds?
Sure, of course, yes, we have seen that, yes.
Then come and see this one.
What an enormous diamond!
Look at its brilliance! Can you tell me what this diamond is called?
This is the Kohinoor diamond. It was with the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. Then it passed through the hands of the invader Nadir Shah and the King of Punjab, Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Finally, it reached the British.
But we have heard that the Kohinoor adorns the British crown.
The Kohinoor is still in Britain. This is just a replica. Diamonds from the mines of Golkonda were renowned throughout the world. The Kohinoor came from these very mines.
Well, Farishta Sahab, you have come from Persia and you have visited many places. What do you think of our Golkonda?
Allah Mirza Sahab, words are not enough to describe this fabulous thing. One sees all kinds of goods in the markets and in Britain.
That is why merchants from Persia, Arabia, Turkey and Europe are drawn here in such large numbers.
I'm collecting material for a historical treatise at present. I feel that it would not be considered complete without the proper mention of Golconda.
Alija, the population of the fort has grown considerably. There is danger of an epidemic due to overcrowding and scarcity of water.
What you say is true, Deshwa. At times we too have felt so, but... an idea has come to us. Why not build a new city?
The idea is praiseworthy, Your Majesty.
Yes, a new city. Open, spacious, where our people may live in comfort. A city as splendid as our kingdom. Suggest a site for it.
An excellent site exists just across the Musi River at the village called Chichala.
We know that place, Peshwa.
It is open and spacious. There is no dearth of water. The climate also is good, and it is near the fort.
Very well, we shall build our new city there.
It is said that Muhammad Quli named the new city Bhagnagar after his beloved Bhagwati. Later, when he bestowed the title of Hyder Mahal on her, the name of the city was changed to Hyderabad. The golden age of Golconda continued even after Muhammad Quli. But, as the sages say, periods of wealth and prosperity are often followed by severe trials and tribulations. The prosperity of Golconda drew the attention of the Mughal emperor in Delhi. In 1653, Prince Aurangzeb was made the governor of Deccan by Shah Jahan. Aurangzeb was fired by the ambition to completely subjugate Golconda. 3 years later, in 1656, the Mughal army invaded the kingdom.
Who was on the throne?
Abdullah Qutub Shah, the grandson of Muhammad Uli. Aurangzeb besieged the fort for a month and a half. Finally, Hayat Bakhshi Begum, the mother of Abdullah Qutub Shah, was forced to step in.
We cannot tolerate this situation any longer. Is Prince Aurangzeb bent upon destroying our kingdom?
No one knows what is in his heart, Ma Sahiba. We have tired of appealing to him.
Anil Mulk, we wish to hear your opinion.
Prince Aurangzeb has charged us with breach of treaty, Master.
He says that the annual tribute has not been regular, and the difference in the exchange rate has not been adjusted.
These are matters to be dealt with by accountants and finance officers. They cannot be solved by besieging the fort with the army.
There is also information that the Emperor has sent a farman after considering our appeals. But Prince Aurangzeb has kept it a secret.
We have understood the matter, Ainul Mulk. Please have a message sent to Prince Aurangzeb in the Mughal camp that we wish to meet him in person.
The meeting of Hayat Bakhshi Begum with Aurangzeb had the desired effect. A treaty was drawn up by which Abdullah gave the hand of his daughter in marriage to Aurangzeb's son Muhammad Sultan, along with the Jagir of Ramgir and a large amount as indemnity.
Surely, this must have dealt a severe blow to the prestige of the kingdom?
Certainly. Many changes took place in the state of affairs. Dr. Bernier, the French physician of Shah Jahan, described these changes in his travelogue.
Aurangzeb's ambassador at the court of Golkonda speaks and acts with the uncontrolled authority of an absolute sovereign. The Sultan lives a secluded life at the Golconda fort and does not appear in public to attend to the administration of justice according to the custom of the country.
16 years passed in this manner. Then, in 1672, Abul Hassan, the son-in-law of Abdullah Qutub Shah, ascended the throne. Abul Hassan, popularly known as Tana Shah, had spent the early years of his life as a disciple of the famous Sufi saint Shah Raj. This had bestowed on him the ability to understand the problems of his people and to overcome adversity through fortitude. He was capable, far-sighted, and tolerant. Soon after ascending the throne, he appointed a Brahmin, Madanna, as his divan. Madanna proved to be an able prime minister. Proper steps were taken to improve agriculture and trade. The army was tightened up, and once again, the land became prosperous. Tana Shah travelled throughout the vast expanse of the kingdom, along with Madanna, to personally acquaint himself with the state of affairs. On one such tour, the royal entourage made camp at a small village.
Yes, that's him, all right. He's very good.
Has ordered you well to be sunk here, Divan Madanna Pandit. Ask these villagers if they need anything else.
For your place, we lack nothing. We only needed water, and you've seen that.
Shall we entertain you? How will you do that? All right, let's see your dance. Subhanallah, what is this dance called?
There is no name for this dance.
Then it shall be known by the name of your village, Kuchipudi. We grant this village to you and your descendants, so that you may keep this dance alive forever.
భామనే సత్య భామని
Tell us another story like this.
Another story? All right. I'll tell you one about Sant Ramdas. People believe that one of the nephews of Diwan Madanna was the saint poet Ramdas. It is said that the real name of Ramdas was Kanchirla Gopanna, and he was appointed the Tehsildar of Bhadrachalam. Gopanna was a devotee of Ram and composed hymns in praise of his deity. It so happened that Gopanna spent 600,000 rupees out of the state revenue to build a temple dedicated to his favorite deity. When the Sultan came to know, he imprisoned Gopanna in the Golkonda fort.
Guard, open the door.
Sarkar, is it you? Here, in this prison?
Yes, Gopanna. We have come to set you free.
But Huzur, the amount taken by me.
It has been paid.
Who paid this amount?
Two young princes. I had never seen them before, but they had a divine radiance.
They must be my Lord Ram and his brother Lakshman.
Your devotion is indeed deep and true, Gopanna. You are undoubtedly Ramdas, Bhakta Ramdas.
This is really a miracle. Now, this is what one would term as true devotion.
Well, let us come back to the story of Golkonda. On one hand, Golkonda was once again witnessing an era of prosperity, and on the other, dark clouds were gathering on the horizon. In 1686, the Mughals once again intensified their campaign against Golkonda. Aurangzeb had now become emperor and wished to conquer Golkonda at any cost.
So the battle must have been terrible.
Indeed, the siege continued for 8 long months. The Mughal commanders despaired and became weary, and the morale of the soldiers drooped. Finally, Aurangzeb sent a message to the commander of the fort, Abdur Razzaq Lari, with tempting offers of favors and rewards.
Abdur Razzaq, the Emperor of India is impressed by your bravery. If you come and join the Emperor Alamgir, he will give you a position at court, make you a mansabdar, and bestow many other favors.
Never. This war to me is like the battle at Karbala. I would rather embrace death than join the Mughals.
But there were others who were more than willing to be bought. Another general accepted the bribe and opened the gate at night.
Sir, wake up! Wake up, sir! The Mughals have entered the fort.
Enter the fort? How?
By treachery, sir. Some traitor has opened the gate.
God's curse on him! Sound the alarm and call the men to arms. Come, my comrades! Let us teach a lesson to these treacherous Mughals. Come, let's go! Allahu Akbar! Look, there they are! Surround them! Let no one escape!
You are just a festival. What can you do to us?
As long as even a drop of blood remains in our veins, we shall defend our Sultan and the kingdom!
It was an unequal struggle. In the end, Abdur Razzaq, deeply wounded, fell down under a tree in the Nagina Bagh, just outside the palace. He fell, but set an example by his valor which was extolled by the renowned poet Sikandar Ali Wajd.
Sultan Abul Hassan, I am Ruhullah Khan, commander of the Emperor of India, Alamgir Aurangzeb. I have come to take you prisoner.
Well, we are having our breakfast. Kindly honor us by sharing our repast.
Is this the time for breakfast, my lord?
We take our breakfast every morning at this very hour.
What I meant was, my lord, whether you feel inclined to eat even at this terrible moment.
We feel perfectly at peace, Ruhullah Khan. It is our firm belief that everything emanates from the will of Allah. It was by His will that we attained these heights. And now it is only through His dispensation that we are losing our kingdom.
Abul Hassan Tana Shah was imprisoned in the Daulatabad fort, where he spent the remaining 14 years of his life. With him, the glorious period of the Deccan passed into history. The fort and the city were ravaged, and the gloom of darkness descended upon the kingdom.
खराबी के सबब छाई तबाही मुल्क पर वैसी खजाने लुट गए अहले हुनर है दहन वीरानी है छाई खल्क पर इस दर्जा तर अफला सुनादारी कि अब माने नहीं रखता कोई हरफे सुखंदानी.
The story of Golkonda ends here. After the fort was captured, the administration of the land was carried on from Hyderabad by the Mughal governor Nizam-ul-Mulk Asaf Jah and his descendants. There was none who would take care of the fort. Now only these untenanted buildings of Bala Hisar and the vacant bastions of the fort are the relics of Golkonda's past. These rocks and ramparts are the sole witnesses of that splendor. They alone have survived, unfazed by the march of events, defying the ravages of time, mute, inscrutable, and unmoving in their silent vigil. The legacy of India's glorious past.
ये फसील ये वीरानी है उसी शान शौकत की परछाइयाँ जिसकी दिलकश कहानी है आज़मा ये नीला सितारा जरा आज़मा. वक्त की मार सहकर जो कायम रही कैफियत बस यही उसी आन की. गोलकोंडा की अज़मत का कहना ही क्या ये शान उसी शान की उसी शान की.